help you today, Clive? Is everything we've received and everything promised? All yours. All done?
Clive. Come back soon. And I mean that.
Ah, Clive, my
Hippocrates. I've been charged with locating a book called...
And you seek a rare one whose name I had not thought to hear from you. You...
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much. I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young... I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not.
The executors?
Coveters of secrets. A clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history, a tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the...
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why? Secrecy is the executors. They lurk in the shadows, emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the executors, yes.
But what drives them?
Fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the executors, you may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of
And my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting?
Not from thin air, no. Rumors of the executors are rife, but rather less so across the street. I have a friend. Well, I had a friend in the village of Garnick. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the scuffle. But, though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit.
I was wondering when next you'd visit. Having never visited, I cannot tell you exactly where in Garnick my friend's lodgings lie. I make no guarantee that you will find what you seek there, only that it is the best and perhaps the only. Thank you for indulging an old man.
If Joshua's worried about Jill, I should go and speak with him. Joshua, I don't think I'd realized how different, but
I suppose it's not the heart.
she doesn't think she belongs.
And that's why we need to remind, to let her know that we still need her. But how to do that? When last we were truly close.
Of course. Do you remember the time we accompanied Father on his annual tour of the duchy? And Jill and I broke from the procession to ride up Man's...
To see the snow daisy. It was the first time Father had allowed... And when he realized you were missing, he had the entire retinue down to the pot boys combing the country.
In the rain. A thunderstorm forced us to take refuge in a grove of oaks before we'd even made it halfway there. It was the Lord Commander who finally found us, and needless to say...
Then it seems you and Jill have
Man's Hill.
Oh, true. Though I suspect it is also much changed. Little in southern Rosaria.
You're saying I should go and scout the area for that?
I'm saying we should first go... What would you do with that? I can't say my travels ever took me back to Man's Hill. I'm curious to see how it has fared.
This is the place, but...
I'm sorry, Clive.
There's nowhere been spared. What do we do now?
We keep looking. Man's Hill cannot be the only place where snow daisies grow.
Perhaps, but... it's the only place I know of. Knew of.
Then why not ask someone who might know of another?
Someone in the backyard? To the hideaway, then. Let's hope one of the gardeners knows where to find snow daisies.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen her... This should tide us over till the new moon.
I need your advice. Joshua and I are looking for a place where snow daisies grow.
Snow daisies. Then you'll want somewhere not too hot and not too cold. I reckon Man's Hill would be a good place to... Both have similar climbs and the right elevation.
Right.
Did you learn where we might find our...
The gardener here mentioned the Royal Meadows in December.
The fields beyond Northreach. Well, if that's the case, then Yote... I recalled that she'd kept a record of our travels, you see. So I asked her if she'd perhaps noted anywhere that snow daisies grew, and she mentioned...
Whose shores border the meadows.
The winds that blow across the Royal Meadows from Ff16 Bay are strong indeed. Not strong enough for snow daisies, it seems.
Snow daisies may be beautiful, but they are really quite deadly. I wouldn't recommend eating one.
The winds that blow across the Royal Meadows from Ff16 Bay...
Looks like we found him. I better get these materials to Mid so she can finish her prototype. Mid?
Aw, you make it sound like I asked you to save the world or...
Tell me, this...
It's most of what I need. After you left, I went over the fig... and a cogwheel. Just gears that smaller a bastard to make, and I may have lost the one Blackthorn spent a fortnight to...
Wait. The children... When they took apart your scales, now that I think about it, they...
The young'uns? But why would they... I'll keep working on the model. You go and find that cog. Don't look at me like that, Clive. I already apologised to Blackthorn. Miserable old bugger. Besides, you can't expect me to keep track of every nut and nail floating about this place. It's a mess.
Sid! Is Mid still...
She wasn't hiding. She's just busy working on...
A new invention? Is it an airship?
Do you think she'll let us help?
That just so happens to be why I'm here. She needs a brass gear. A tiny one.
Oh, the one you forgot.
We saved it, just in case.
Since your lesson, we've been disassembling, then reassembling all the pieces that are left over we keep under our beds.
That's...
Look! I found it! Is that all? Just the gear?
That's all for now. But I'll let Mid know about your...
Thanks, Sid. Back for another part. We've got screws and bolts and nails and knobbles and noodles and, back for another part. We've got screws and...
Has Midadol mentioned a new project yet?
Not exactly. She seems preoccupied.
Well?
They did.
Will it work?
What exactly are you going to use?
Only the most important. The wings aren't going to move on their own. But with the right cog in the right place, well, you just... That should do it. Here goes nothing. Titan's tits.
It wasn't supposed to fly, was it?
Of course it was supposed to fly. Wouldn't be much of an airship if it didn't. Honestly, these bloody engines are driving me mad. I was so sure this would be the day she soared. The Mithril engine was made to make dreams come true. But maybe this is one dream the world's better off without. Show folk how to take flying. It won't be long till they're raining death down on each other. People will lose their homes. Children, their mums and their dads. Like I lost mine.
I'm sorry.
So am I, Clive. So am I. Sorry that I have to choose. Do I follow my head, or do I follow my heart?
Good question. The first time I stood on the deck of your ship, felt the wind in my hair. It was like I was flying. But imagine how it would feel to actually do it.
My dad always said there were two ways of living life. Chasing a dream or shuffling to your grave. And he were right. Right about a lot of things. Not that I like to admit it. People need dreams to chase. Especially in a world like this. Right. When this is over, I'm gonna take all my Mithril engines to Zemeckis and sling them over the edge. I won't have my dream end up turning into someone else's nightmare.
But all that hard work...
All that hard work will not be used for war, Jamie. But it isn't like it'll be gone. Tell me, Clive, have you ever been on a treasure hunt?
Not since Joshua and I were boys. Why do you ask?
Because I'm gonna bury the engine schematics and leave behind a little riddle telling people where to find them. A really hard one, so that only the most dedicated dreamers will ever be able to work it out. Ooh, I can picture it now. Some daft general squinting at the words with a gormless expression on his mug. that one. Yeah.
Right.
Of course, if I'm putting this engine at the end of a treasure hunt, I'll still need to make it a treasure worth hunting for. Won't be much of a prize if it couldn't even make a toy boat fly after all. My dad always said, dream big. But it ain't the size of a dream that's important, is it, Clive? Only that it's a good one. And I reckon I've got a fair few good uns left in me.
I'm sure you do. What shall I do with your model? You spent a lot of time on it. We both did.
What, that old thing? Not healthy to cling to your failures, Clive. They'll weigh you down, you know.
Sound advice.
Still, I suppose my prototypes will probably be worth a fair bit when I'm as famous as Bart's the Builder. Seeing as you're always strapped for coin, suppose I can give it to you. Just make sure you get a good price when you do come to part with it.
I'd say that was up to you as much as me.
Do you see that too?
There are many variations of the Semekian legend, but almost all agree that man was punished for presuming to set foot in the sanctum of the gods. Some describe it as holy, others heavenly, which is to say, of the heavens. Could it be that the baleful mass that now glowers over us is this very sanctum? Have the gods returned to pass judgment upon us once more?
Papa, what keeps it in the air? Why doesn't it fall?
Don't you go tempting fate, girl.
Who needs a porter when there's nowhere left to go?
Poor old Theodore. We may have been rivals in business, but I never wished him ill.
Do you have any fresh water? The well's been all but dry since the skies changed.
Barely a drop left for myself.
It's the end, isn't it? The gods have sent that thing to punish us.
Has this wine turned? Or is it my stomach?
Tastes better if you don't look up.
That thing in the sky. It looks to me like a mother crystal, or at the very least, some twisted reflection of one. But where did it come from? Has the spirit of its fallen cousins returned to haunt us?
It's good to see you. When we fled our childhood home, I loved him. Did I tell you? That was what he wanted. No matter how hard it might be. Did I tell you? That was what he wanted. No matter how hard it might be. The Dominion has fallen. The Crimson Caravans must set an example. It is our job to keep the hope alive. Farewell.
We'll make a home of Cashlock, however long it takes. It's what Theo would have wanted.
I've never seen Miss L cry before.
Is Theo really gone then? He's never coming back.
That's true, and we have to look after Miss L, just like Theo looked after us.
Oh, gods. No one's going to buy a pot now.
Please. A piece of fruit. A crust of bread. Anything.
Is it true about Twinside? Those poor people.
Aye. And poor us, too. Trade with the Dominion was the only thing keeping these markets afloat. Now that's finished. So are we.
It hardly seems real. I keep expecting to see Theodore, waiting for me at the caravans.
I see you've met with Master Cyril. I too serve the Phoenix, my lord, though in an altogether more lowly capacity than the bearer of the Burning Quill. I came here to conduct inquiries into the true history of the sins of Zemeckis. That a great tragedy occurred is evidenced clearly enough by the scars left on the land.
Have you seen what's washed up at our gates? Imperial nobles, no less.
I don't know whether to pity them for the trials they went through in Twinside, or to say it's their own bloody fault for stealing the city in the first place.
The Dominion's gone, they're saying. All the islands sunk to the bottom of the sea.
Gilbert, the guards closed the gates. If they hadn't, we'd be down there too.
Please.
I've walked the length of the Crystal Road without a drop of water.
We'll bring you a skin after you tell us what happened in the Dominion.
How the tables have turned.
What am I to do? My entire fortune sleeps at the bottom of the Strait of Arthur.
Not your entire fortune. Those rings will buy you some bread.
Eloise is a strong woman. She'll get through this, with some help from her friends.
Trouble at the gate?
Refugees from the Dominion.
Look, everyone, just take what you need. Coin be damned.
Please, a piece of fruit.
Oh, gods.
It's not real. It can't be. I'm seeing things.
Papa?
What is it? Oh, please, just make it stop. Make it stop. I'm scared.
It's all right. I'm here.
Nothing good's gonna come of this, I'm telling you.
Just looking at it's enough to send a shiver down your spine.
Good girl. Run like the wind. Can't be Rutherford, can it?
Turncoats and cowards, the lot of you! If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you shall have!
Allow me.
I don't need your...
Please, Field Marshal, oblige him.
This won't take long.
You're right. It won't. Men, finish him.
little longer than I'd have liked. Field Marshal Havel, I presume. Are either of you injured?
No, my lord. You arrived just as our escort turned on us.
Fucking traitors. I'd heard reports of soldiers in the outlying regions abandoning the oaths they swore. But I hadn't thought the corruption had reached so close to the heart of the Republic. It's a fucking disgrace. Your interfering old bastard of an uncle tried to warn me, of course. My lord Marquis. Or is Sid the Outlaw more to your liking?
Call me what you want. It doesn't change who I am, or the urgency of the message I bring. My uncle has a plan to right the realm, and he needs your help to see it through.
Before I agree to anything, I'd have you answer one question. What do you stand to gain from all this?
I won't deny that I might benefit from further chaos. But I seek a new beginning for all of us. And while the choices I've made may not always have been the right ones, I know I made them for the right reasons. For so long, so many of us have been told how we could live, how we could die, when it should have been our decision all along. Now we have a chance to put things right. But in order to take it, we must stand together. Even if it be beside those with whom we don't see eye to eye.
Certainly not the words I expected from an outlaw. But perhaps your uncle was right. You are no ordinary outlaw. I'll never hear the end of this. All right. I'll start by ordering my most trusted guard to bring the Dalmekian fringes under control. Next, I'll make contact with my counterparts in the Imperial Army and see if I can't convince them to try and restore order in their own territory.
Thank you, Field Marshal.
But they are not the only ones we will need to convince.
What do you mean?
I don't doubt that I can bully some sense into a few generals. But those they answer to require a different kind of persuasion. And when it comes to honeyed words, well, we will need an envoy. One who can court even the most stubborn of statesmen. You, perhaps.
I'm flattered. But I'm no diplomat either. And I have other problems to attend to. What we need is a skilled arbitrator. And I may know just the person.
Is that so? And would he happen to be an outlaw too?
Of a different kind, perhaps.
Well, beggars can't be choosers. I suppose we'll all have to find a little of the outlaw in ourselves if we're to make it through this. Very well. Send your man to me right away.
I shall.
My Lord Marquis. Your Lord Uncle bade me escort the Field Marshal to his manor in Port Isolde.
And I will see that my associate joins you there.
Very good, my lord.
Huh. An envoy. I'm not sure I'm the man to talk anyone round. I can barely convince my brother to take his medicine. No. This is a job for someone with experience. Someone like Quentin. I hope I can convince him at least.
Quentin's gonna build us new Lost Wing, and I'm gonna help.
I'd have followed Quentin to that manor if I could have done, and I'll keep following him now. Wherever that surly bastard cares to lead us.
Bruised, we may be battered, but we won't stop fighting.
Master Quentin needs us now more than ever.
I made sure our fallen comrades were laid to rest. And they can rest easy, knowing that their sacrifice wasn't in vain. That justice was done. I made sure our fallen comrades were laid to rest. And they can rest easy, knowing that their sacrifice wasn't in vain. That justice was done. As for us survivors, well, we've just got to keep at it. Keep the family together. For their sakes.
Quentin, I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join her? Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape.
Any statesmen we speak with are liable to resist our entreaties if they feel that what little power remains to them is at stake. They must be dealt with skillfully. I shall not repeat the errors of my past.
Reckon Master Quentin could argue an egg back up a hen's quim if he set his mind to it.
Uncle, the Field Marshal has agreed.
Ha! Of course!
Rutherford is accompanying him back to your manor in Port Isolde as we speak. They will await your return there.
One other? Who?
Lord Havel was concerned that even if he could get the realm's armies to agree to an accord, he might not be as successful in convincing those with... He asked if I might have a solution. And I suggest...
One of your...
Master Quentin would probably call me one of his...
Another outlaw? Just the thing we need to put these rotten politicos in their places. Good thinking, Clive.
I'm glad you approve.
The more the merrier, eh?
Uncle, assuming Havel and Quentin can solve our problem with the armies, you still haven't mentioned how we might manage the grain shortages.
Oh, don't you worry, my boy. The 7 high houses will be seeing to that. They have all agreed to make the most Oh, of course, it did take a little, but luckily I had some...
From who?
Why, you, my boy. Rumour has it that you rescued the Lady Ariane's head steward Rockford from a horde of bloodthirsty bandits.
It was more of a handful.
Well, the old battle-axe was so pleased. She had a shipload of talents delivered to my private docks by the next new moon. And when the other houses saw the parsimonious old crone's purse strings finally loosen, they as good as tripped over themselves in the rush to follow suit.
I'm happy to hear it.
Now, I must be getting back to the manor. Join us there at your earliest convenience, would you?
Of course, Uncle.
And how, pray tell, will we get that grain to the capital if the roads are still overrun with akashic?
You'll find another bloody road. I only have so many men, and I'm not about to send them headlong into an ether flood. That is, unless you'd have them turn as well.
Well, I'd certainly eat less.
Says the man with a belly bigger than a band of curls. My soldiers actually need their rations. Without any food to keep them going, they'll be dead even before you've sent them on your fool's errand.
If I may, gentlemen, perhaps I might suggest an alternative approach. Though supply routes are indeed disrupted, there is no shortage of ships. Indeed, they bob away in every bay from here to Randalar, awaiting a safe haven. Allow them to make port and fill their bellies full of grain. And once those who crowd the cities are fed, ferry the displaced back to the countryside to work the fallow fields. But I'm sure that you wish to continue your discussion. Forgive the interruption. Two such firm friends as yourselves need no help from the likes of me. Rutherford spoke fondly of the great bond between you.
Us? Friends?
I can't stand the man!
Clive, I'm beginning to question the quality of the company you keep.
And what kind of company were you expecting him to keep? The man's a criminal!
Criminal? How dare you? You are not fit to breathe the same air as this fine, upstanding young gentleman.
Upstanding? He calls himself Sid the Bloody Outlaw!
Once more onto the breach.
Shall we begin again? What we seek here is not to create a new nation, nor to claim the thrones of those that already exist. We wish simply to bring stability to the realm that mankind might weather the current storm. And to do that, we must convince those in power, the generals, the statesmen, the nobles, that our cause is just. There will be disagreements, yes, and I imagine some resistance, much resistance. But we cannot let that deter us. If we show them the path, show them that we walk it ourselves, then I am confident they will follow. The fate of the world lies in my nephew's hands, but the well-being of her people lies in ours. And we must not squander the chance that Clive has given us.
Uncle Byron,
Now, with that settled, let's move on to the signing of the Accord. For what great moment in history hasn't been accompanied by a little ceremony? Citizens of Valisthea, I present to you the Triunity. Rutherford, Mike Will. Well, my boy, the stage is set.
That it is.
This is the role you were born for. Now I ask only that you trust in the talents of your supporting. We shall play our parts to the best of our abilities. The realm needs its Sir Crandall. I want you to keep this signed accord.
I will. Thank you, Uncle.
Do you think they'll come back?
Of course they will. It's just a big crystal. How hard could it be?
What can I do for my favorite? Do you know why? 'Twas not 20 summers past. Your mother. But above all, and so you see, well, don't do anything I wouldn't.
Nazir might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
The Dame actually cares about this town, unlike the Duke. He's only interested in picking our pockets to line his own.
The garrison is threatening to pull their sentries from the markets if we don't cooperate.
Then we'll just post our own!
A fortress? And who'll pay for that?
Who do you think? I'll take my chances in the wild before I let some noble take any more of my coin.
He'd have our coin, our stock and our stalls, and we're just supposed to hand the whole lot over?
What other choice do we have?
I'm nervous. Is it all right to be nervous?
I don't care either way, so long as you do as I tell you. Well met, Sid. This is the initiate.
At your service.
Please, just Sid. There are no masters here. Your life is...
Oh, of course. Thank you, Sid. The sergeant says you'll be evaluating me at my trial.
To become a scout, yes. You are aware of the dangers inherent in that role.
I am. But I swore I'd face them. Just like the man who saved my life.
Who would that be?
Gav. It was him who found me and freed me. No magic, no support, just one man and his nose. Came and sniffed me out. It taught me what one man can do if he puts his mind to it. And I've been training ever since, so that one day I can be someone's saviour, just like Gav was mine.
I'm sure he'd be flattered. You clearly have good intentions, Ember. And it sounds like you're under no illusions. Stick to this path and you'll make a
So...
You haven't even Not far from here is an Imperial lookout, Eastwatch. The guards there record all their sightings in a logbook. You are to find it and bring it here.
And bring it here, right.
No. Sneaking into a heavily guarded Imperial outpost and stealing... You'll need to assess the situation. Determine a point of entry, all without being discovered and thrown into an...
Ember. Gav isn't our best scout because he can do everything.
Know my limits. Right. I won't let you down.
It shouldn't be as dangerous as I made out. But keep a weather eye on him all the same, would you?
On my way. All right, Ember. Impress me.
Even now, the capital has moved. The Empire keeps the watchtowers overlooking royal meadows and the Sea of Grace manned. But only by a skeleton crew. It's a trial, not a death sentence.
Let's go.
Yeah!
Right. These are clean kills. Perhaps young Ember really is ready. Or maybe not. Damn it.
Ember, draw your sword! Then run!
If you want him, you'll have to go through me.
Gone. Of course. Scouts really...
I didn't... Where is Ember?
He must have fled. He was just standing there. Didn't even draw his sword. He was nowhere to be seen. I assumed he'd set off and...
I knew the boy had a nervous streak, but...
The right man for the job? I believe this is the logbook you tasked me with retrieving.
Hey? How did you... Don't you tell me you breached the tower while Sid was busy saving your skin.
What? Wasn't that what you asked me to do? To bring the thing back without getting caught?
He has you then, Nazaire. And he did it...
But Sid, he
did what he thought was best.
Of course. Well, don't you leave my...
Yes, Sergeant.
This won't be an easy decision.
You should have seen him. The thing didn't stand a chance.
Yeah, neither did you, I hear. Welcome back, Sid.
Welcome back, Sid.
Yes. Welcome back. Trip wasn't too much. Truth be told, it was me who suggested roping you in, but from what I hear...
No. Ember lost his nerve in the face of a beast of prey, but he didn't lose heart. He pressed on, and he achieved his aim. And is that not what we ask of?
Indeed it is. Thank you for your... The fact remains, however, that Ember will not always have a battle-hardened warrior on hand to pluck him from the... All I have gleaned from this trial is that without someone watching his back, Ember is little more than...
Wait, Sergeant. And this time he was found wanting. After all, he did do as you asked.
With a bit of hard work, any hand can be made to hold a blade. And any mind, but a scout's nose is different. And by sniffing out that log, young Ember here has shown he has a conk and an art. Wouldn't do to waste it now.
Fine.
I'll do whatever. I'll spend my days and nights in the pit if I have. I'll show you.
Daft as a brush, that one. But his heart's in the right. Just like someone, and if you ask me, we've been leaning on it. That time the curse breakers took some of the weight off his shoulders.
Couldn't hurt.
Just don't tell Gav I said so, will you? I won't have him thinking he's been hard. Next thing you know, chance would be a fine thing.
Forgive me, Sid. This...
But that's why we need men like Ember more than ever. Remember that.
I will, Sid. Sid, I wanted you to know. I will be taking personal responsibility for Ember's combat training. And I will not let you down.
You be careful up there. But if you happen to snag your...